Welcome, everybody. We have another exceptional show with two exceptional leaders from our group, and you will love what we're going to talk about today because many organizations are looking at their most valuable employees and seeing how they can retain them, especially with upskilling opportunities. So today we have with us Janice Burlingame. She is the Chief Financial Officer of Aptera. Aptera is a brand new company that has created a solar power electric car. Look out, Elon Musk. And with her, we have Carrie Jean Glosser. KJ, as she is known to us and those who know her well, is a partner at Abacus Wealth Partners. They are a socially conscious wealth management firm. Very interesting. Both of these amazing leaders have decided to do postgraduate career work and to get new degrees while they are holding down C-level jobs. This is not easy to do. We're going to hear how they have done it. I'm Lorraine Siegel. I'm the founder, chair, and CEO of the Exceptional Women Awardees Foundation. We are a group of people who enable high-level women to reach their dreams. Why did I start this foundation? Well, I decided, since I never had a coach when I was in the early part of my career as a lawyer and then a CEO of multiple companies and even as a board director, I never had a guide to enable me to go in different directions, which could have been optional for me. And I wanted to make sure that women who walk the road less traveled, as I have, would be able to be surrounded with a group of women leaders, peers, that would enable them to reach their dreams. And that's exactly what we do at EWA. So without further ado, let me introduce my amazing guests today, KJ and Janice. Welcome to EWA LinkedIn Live. So happy to have you both with us. Hi. Okay, so let's get started. KJ, I'm going to go to you first because did you dream about being in the wealth management area and especially in socially conscious wealth management when you were a child?
I had no idea what socially conscious, socially responsible investing was until I started working at Abacus Wealth. About 14 years ago now, I've been here. And I think it's really amazing what we're doing and really setting the industry apart. But never in a million years would I have assumed that I would even be a financial advisor. I had dreamed about being a lawyer when I was young and thought that would be the path I pursued. But really, being a saver, loving helping people and giving them advice on how to save, how to plan for the future, ended up turning into a career for me. And law school set aside, and here I am today, an advisor and a partner at Abacus Wealth. And I love what I do, interacting with clients, helping family and friends, and also working with other employees. I have my own advisor here, which has been really unique. One of the few places I've ever worked where they encourage you to have an in-house mentor. And in that way, I have an advisor here who helps me make my decisions possible. So it's been very rewarding, unexpected career.
That's pretty amazing. You know, KJ, we all dream about being able to get paid for something we love to do, and you found it, haven't you?
I have. I'm very lucky, very grateful for the opportunities I've been given and the chance they took on me having zero finance background.
Oh, that is even more amazing. Okay, we're going to come back to that because that's something very interesting for our audience who are not in finance and might think that this could be a good career for them. All right, so Janice, tell us about your early life. You were not born in the US, were you?
I am a hybrid model, so efficient like our company. At age 5, I knew I wanted to be in finance. So that was very clear to me. Starting from the Chinese New Year's, the red envelopes, I had my general ledger. It was a green one with debits and credits. And I knew from there on, I really had a passion for the flow of capital. And so here I am as the CFO.
So, Janice, you have kids. You have two beautiful little girls. I know because I've seen them. They're just absolutely adorable. Did you do the green and the red envelope for them at Chinese New Year?
We did the green envelopes, and I taught them journal entries. I taught them taxes, what investments look like, what's a bull market, what's a bear market. I would make up stories about finance and tell them that since they're little. So I think they're well versed in it, more so than most kids. They know what EBITDA is, being 11 and 14.
That's amazing, Janice. I think that's incredible. So, KJ, when you counsel families on wealth management, do you get the kids involved and, teenagers?
I try to. I try to encourage people. I feel financial literacy is really important, and it's something where previous generations didn't include their children in those conversations. And then suddenly, when the parents passed away, the kids are left with this money and don't know how to use it responsibly. And I have a client coming in today who's bringing her granddaughter who just started school, just started college, and she's opening her first Roth IRA, and her grandmother's helping guide that process, and specifically doing it because she wasn't given the same opportunities as a child. She wants her granddaughter, when she graduates college, to understand the value of money and what it can do for her in terms of long-term savings. And so I'm really excited to meet her in person today.
Wow, that's amazing. I love to hear that. So Janice, as you grew up, were your parents encouraging you, knowing that you were so good at finance and numbers, even at an early age? Did they encourage you to go into finance, or did you take a different direction?
So I have the typical Asian parents. So would you like to be a doctor, engineer, or an accountant? And growing up, I don't think they were very forceful, but they were very strict in making sure that I was purpose driven and questioning what I needed. Like, what would you like? Based on your skill set. I started studying calculus in third grade. And it's crazy, but it's kind of normal in Asia. They'd try to guide me into the right areas and have a targeted approach and focus on those skill sets that are needed for that role. But they weren't very exact. Like, you have to be a CFO. They just thought, okay, something that has to do with what runs through the company, the financials, the capital flow.
And
So
so, Janice, you are in a most unusual company. Tell us a little bit about your company. What is Aptera all about?
well, we're the one company in the EV industry that's taking the beautiful God-given sun and powering our vehicles to where we could go 1,000 miles on one charge. We're taking creative energy. We're moving away from destructive energy. So destructive meaning all the fossil fuels, the burning of all things that create negative carbon footprints. And then we're moving to creative energy, was creating energy from nature. And so I am absolutely passionate about what our mission is. And I'm a very purpose-driven person. And that's why I joined the company, is to create a better future for my kids, for their kids, and just for the generations and beyond. So I am just in this happy place right now at this company. Very grateful for this opportunity to change the world for the better.
Well, I'm so glad to have both of you on the program together because, KJ, give us a few beats on when I described your company as socially conscious investors. What does that actually mean?
It's a very broad term in the investment world. You'll hear socially conscious, you'll hear socially responsible, impact investments. What we really do is we try to offer people investments that align with their values. It's values driven investing is what we call it. And we started off with just environmental focus, sustainable portfolios, and it's really morphed into this amazing subset of people who they want to take it a step further. They want to eliminate more from their portfolio and really focus on having money go not just towards the environment, but social justice causes. It's been very interesting. I feel that we're at the forefront of that in the industry, especially a financial planning firm. That's not the norm, but it's really about we want to give people opportunity to have their money go further. Back, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, to be an impact investor and have your values aligned investments, you had to have millions of dollars. And today, the goal is to move the needle to the point where someone with $10,000 can help a child somewhere in the world, help humanity, just really give back to the environment and anything else that resonates with them.
Yeah, I find both of you are in industries and with companies that give me so much hope. We hear so much bad news around us today, and yet here both of you are in organizations that are moving the needle, as you said, KJ, into goodness. And what a wonderful thing to do. To our audience, I hope you're enjoying the program. Please put your comments into Facebook or LinkedIn. We're streaming live on Facebook as well. And so if you put some comments in and some questions in, we'd love to answer them, and we'll get to that in a few moments. But I do want to go with you, Janice, to talk about the real topic of our program today, and that is, why did you do a postgraduate degree? Actually, you've got 2 degrees that you're doing. Tell us what the motivation was behind it, and a little bit more about that extra education that you're doing now.
Yes, so I am getting a doctorate in business administration, and my boss calls me a masochist, but I think I'm just so driven and so motivated to learn more and go deeper into a subject area, which my dissertation topic is the legitimacy of empathy in virtual negotiations. And, a lot of our professors and directors tell us getting a PhD is like birthing a child. Having gone through that, I will tell you this is a lot harder. This gestation period is much longer than being pregnant. And it's so relevant as a CFO as well, because we're often out there talking about our companies and having to substantiate our numbers and our forecasts. And so this PhD process has taught me to truly ensure the validity of information that's obtained to support what I tell the public, to make sure that there's empirical evidence supporting the numbers behind all my financial models. And so I see a great relevance in applying my education to my current job, even down to running. I did a regression analysis for multivariable. I think my professor will be proud that I'm using that at my work to determine what our market spend has correlation-wise with amount of capital that's flowing in. And so I'm using this degree to a fuller extent than perhaps most PhDs that are theoretically based, because it has a business application part of it. And lastly, for Kolb's learning model, I'm not sure if you're familiar, but there are 4 stages to it. So 1 is concrete experience, 2 is reflective observation, 3 is abstract conceptualization, and 4 is active experimentation. So every learning, all the schools go through the same learning model in teaching their students. For a doctoral candidate, I really focus on the reflective part. And I think that to be self-aware, to have a deep understanding and reflecting on all your experiences and building on it is critical for life. So this is absolutely a life journey. I see it as a big life learning exercise. And at the end, I get a dissertation that comes with it. So yes, I love what I'm doing right now. But yes, of course, bringing a company to a multi-billion valuation while doing this is a bit masochistic. So, but I know I can do it because I have the support of my great executive team, and they're all for it.
Well, you can definitely do it. There's no doubt. We just hope you don't fall apart in between. But we're going to make sure we surround you with love and care at EWA to help you through the process. And let's go to you, KJ, because you couldn't have been more secure and more happy, everything going really, really well. Why did you decide to jump out of your safety area and go do a degree at Kellogg? Tell us all about it.
It's interesting you say that, because I've heard that so much, especially during the application process. Once I told my friends and family that I got in, my coworkers, it was, what are you doing? You're already a partner. You've already achieved this level at your firm. What can this possibly have for you? Is it because you want a new job? And I said, no, it's for me. It's something I always wanted to do, was pursuing a graduate degree. And I wasn't really sure for a long time what that looked like. As I mentioned before, wanting to be a lawyer, I thought maybe someday that's going to be going to law school. And then it morphed into maybe I'll go into a psychology degree, which would help my clients. And then I realized the best way to help my clients is to help myself. And I came up with this during pandemic, and I thought, okay, it's now or never. So in 2020, I started the application process and finished in early 2021, excuse me, and then started school last summer. And it's been absolutely incredible. And I think for anyone who's questioning whether or not they should do it, it's why now? And you say, why not? Really just go for it. There's nothing wrong with being a lifelong learner. Whether or not you can use it in your job now, you're going to be able to use it at some point in your life.
So KJ, you in your job, you are obviously domestic, but you invest in global funds and global financial opportunities. This degree, the MBA that you're doing at Kellogg, which is a phenomenal university, and kudos to you to getting into that incredible program. There's a lot of international aspects to that degree. Tell us a bit more about it.
They actually encourage students from around the world to apply. And I would say that a decent percentage of my cohort, as we call it, which is my class, come in from other countries. Part of the reason why I chose the Miami campus for Kellogg is that we have that international fusion of students because Miami is an international airport. And I love the idea too that Kellogg says, okay, it's great. You know, the business world is global, but also we want you to go global. They want us to go overseas for one class, two class, three classes, whatever it is. And so they're encouraging it because it's all interconnected.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. And so back to you, Janice. So you have an incredible degree. You have 2 degrees, 2 doctorates, and I would say everybody's probably from somewhere else. So tell us about the internationality of the 2 doctorates that you're doing.
We have 12 countries. So it's like 12 people from 12 different countries. Every continent but Antarctica is covered. So during the pandemic, we got to hear from every single country how they're handling it, best practices. One of my classmates is part of the WHO. So it was very refreshing to get a world view. I think it's just the perfect program for my company because my company's we're going to start local, but we have reservations from over 90 countries. So we have global domination goals. So this helps me set the foundation for understanding how to go to market, understanding the needs and the consumer demands, because I have classmates now in almost every market that we're interested in.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. So we have lots of people out there asking questions. Let's get 1 or 2 questions. One up for Janice. Okay, Janice, this is a good one because that's always been my concern about you is how do you keep healthy? So Lara from Chicago, how do you both keep healthy with such stressful jobs? Let's go to Janice and see how you're doing this.
That is $1 million question. I'm sure I'm not doing enough, but to the extent possible, I used to be a certified trainer and health is such an important part of your well-being. So I get up at an ungodly hour and I go to the gym a couple times a week. I meditate throughout the day because I need to feel centered and I need to reflect, like the COPES learning model that I talked about. So I would say I credit it to just having the discipline to take even an hour or 30 minutes out of your day a couple times a week. And then I love my yoga retreats. I don't go to enough of them, but once a year, once every 2 years, I go with my sister to a location to have a nice, reflective, mindful yoga retreat. May or may not end with wine, but that's how I try to maintain healthy.
Yeah, it's hard. There's no doubt. You know, Janet, talk about the fact that you had to make some big decisions, and obviously your spouse has been very supportive. When you started to contemplate doing these double doctorates, what was the conversation you had at home, and how have you managed to keep your marriage and your kids and all the other things, including an incredible job, going?
I'm very grateful for a supportive spouse. He was definitely questioning my decision, similar to KJ. He's like, well, you're at the top of your game. Why do you need more education? But like one of my directors said, who's had an incredibly treacherous upbringing, he said, when you have this education, no one could take it away from you. And so I was persistent. I had my director call him. My director is an amazing strategy professor, and he talked to my husband. And we just had these conversations of what to expect, what's the time horizon. I think eventually my not stubbornness, but determination, perhaps. I think he saw how important it was that I did it for myself. And I'm also motivating my 2 girls. I'm showing them that there are no boundaries to your dreams. Whatever you like to do, I'm setting an example that you can go for it. And so I think my husband sees the benefits of my girls seeing a role model of their mom pushing through the limits of doing what's typically considered, impossible. And that
Impossible. Well,
helped him.
you are very good at the impossible, Janice. It's remarkable. So let's go to KJ for a moment here, because one of the things, KJ, that I have heard often said, the cost of postgraduate education is huge. And many people say you can earn a great living by becoming a coder and not necessarily doing all the degrees that have in the past been traditionally expected. What is your thought on that?
It's a really, it's a really good question. And it really requires a lot of thought. And it's something where I would say consult your advisor, whether it's financially feasible for you to do it, because you might be able to make more money, but are you going to be sacrificing anything long term? I think that it's a great opportunity to expand your network, expand your possibilities. And, you could be a coder and make a lot of money, but if your goals are to be in upper management at one of those tech companies, then this is something that's going to be really important for you to have. And it will pay dividends later. It's just not necessarily going to pay right away. But for me, it's worth it. I think everyone, it's a personal decision whether or not they want to take on that cost. And I work with clients who can't afford it necessarily. They have high paying jobs, but they're just starting out in those jobs. And so it's really about helping them manage the world of financial loans, financial aid, and really helping them in that way too. So you can come at it from a lot of angles, but it's really not for everyone. And I get that.
Yeah, that's very smart. KJ, just a few more beats, because you've done some incredible things at Abacus in the innovation area. Can you give us a little insight? No company secrets now, but just a bit of insight on what you've done there.
Sure. When I was hired, as I said, I've been here for 14 years ago. And so one of the things that we developed a while ago, the former president and I, was we developed an associate advisor program. And I feel that it was really the start of the innovation for our firm. It was redefining what it means to be an advisor. Back, even sometimes today, it's a lot of male. It's a male-dominated industry. And so men coming out of college, whereas women don't feel necessarily that it's an industry for them. And so we thought, hey, let's give an opportunity for everyone, career changers, anything. And so we have had a lot of success with it. It's the associate advisor program. And so everyone comes in and we think of it as they're the empty cup that we help fill. You don't have to have the qualifications. It's really about coming in, learning everything from the ground up. And if this is the place for you, amazing. I did this. I was kind of the guinea pig for this process, and now I'm a partner at the firm. I think anything's possible. And some people, it's a great jumping off point for a career to pivot into something else. And so that was kind of the beginning of innovation here, and it has spawned from that. And now we have different internships that we're offering to minorities that wouldn't necessarily have been exposed to finance at any point in their life. I feel like when I said it's a male dominated industry, it's an old white male dominated industry. And so we want people that don't necessarily look like us to lead the firms of the future. And in that way, we're trying to innovate as well.
You move my heart. That is beautiful stuff. Janice, just a few thoughts from you on education cost in Europe, because you've got people from all over the world. Is it less expensive in Europe than it is in the US?
Absolutely. I did my full cost analysis like a good CFO would, ran my ROI.
Of course you did, right?
It's a fraction of the cost. In fact, it was less than a fourth of the cost, and it's a top institution. It's top 5 in the UK. And so that was another attraction along with the global aspect of it, per my research before entering into this doctoral journey.
That is very, very interesting. Is it the same in Asia, or would you not know?
I have not looked into Asia. I figured the flight was a little longer, but it's possible that it could be. So I'll have to do some research and get back to you on that.
Well, I think the point of this is that it's more egalitarian. In other words, there are opportunities for higher education or for just college education that perhaps are more affordable outside the US. And maybe that's something I know we're struggling with in the US and something we must think about for the future. So we are almost at the end of our time. I'd like to bring up one or two other questions. So if our producer can bring up some of the many questions that have been out there. Here's one from Phil from Monterey. Well, both of you have gravitated to companies that serve more of a purpose than just making money. How did you find those opportunities? KJ, I'm going to go to you first. Did you know when you joined Abacus that they were serving a socially conscious mission?
Not really. I had just moved to California and I was fortunate enough to get the interview and I thought I can do this. And it was only after I started working at the company that I discovered what they were doing to, push that needle, so to speak. And I thought it was amazing. I'd never even heard of a firm that was doing anything like we were doing. And so, like a lot of our clients, I learned about it much later in life. And it's been a great journey learning all about the socially conscious world, especially when it comes to investing. And it's not just about giving to charities, it's about really helping overall and having your money. Sure, it's earning returns and you're saving for the future, but you can also do good with that money. And I think that's the important takeaway that I wish I'd known long before that, but I'm just fortunate that I learned it when I did.
Yeah, doing well and doing good together. What could be better? On the other hand, Janice, you did a lot of research to find the right company. Give us a few beats on that. We've only got 1 or 2 minutes left.
Okay. So I also had the very great fortune of knowing one of the co-founders. So one of the co-CEOs has known me for over a decade. And so when I was going through the interviewing process, I was partner track for a wonderful consulting firm prior to joining Aptera. But this, mission, this purpose of ESG in the ethos of the company was what drew me to it. So I think in some ways, perhaps the universe heard me. I've always said in my career that I would work for companies that help humankind. And this was like a perfect match that I found it at the right time and was at the right place. So that's, I'm very blessed.
Yeah, appreciate very much all of your time and your insights and look forward to hearing from you again. Thank you so much. But we're not done. We have another show which I'm cooking up right now, and that is Warren Farrell. He's an amazing gentleman who's done scientific research on the status of boys, why our sons, husbands, nephews, all the boys and men in our families and our worlds are being affected by what's going on in our society today. He calls it The Boy Crisis. It's a book which you must read. I have enjoyed it myself, and I strongly recommend to read it before our show and hopefully come with your questions. Warren is a great friend and a tremendous thought leader. So look forward to having him on our show. And I will leave you with a question today, which is, does your employer help you with your graduate or postgraduate education? And if not, why not? So get back to us. You will see my email is on the screen right now, and I look forward to hearing from you. Of course, we want you to visit our website, Amazon Music, Spotify, and our YouTube channel. I look forward to seeing you all at our next show. Thanks, everybody. Bye now.